Hi, everybody, and welcome to today's installment of Align's Daily Dose of Advice, our way of bringing you valuable insights and thought leadership from business experts from around the world on various topics that will hopefully help you and your business. My name is Eugene Turk. I'm the Vice President of Business Development at Align, and you can always learn more about the Align software at aligntoday.com. My guest today is Mark Comiso. Mark is a true entrepreneurial executive with more than 25 years of hands-on expertise in founding, building, and scaling multiple companies, from startups to publicly traded organizations. Mark now helps entrepreneurs as a scaling up certified coach and part of the Petra coaching team. Prior to joining Petra, Mark co-created and patented a web-based screen sharing application. He ran multiple digital marketing agencies, as well as a computer hardware company and multiple SaaS web and mobile application companies. That's all part of that 25-year history. He is also a 20-plus year member of Entrepreneurs Organization, or EO, and where he has held global leadership positions on the global board of directors. He is a Master Certified Strategy Summit facilitator and also has more than a decade of experience in facilitating their accelerator program, which specifically helps early stage entrepreneurs grow their business. Mark, it is always a pleasure to see you and to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
Great to see. Thanks, Eugene. Great to see you too.
Many people probably will be.
Easy for you to say.
I know many people will probably be familiar with the Marshall Goldsmith book entitled "What Got You Here Won't Get You There," and that premise may never have been more true than now, as our entire sort of business landscape has shifted in the span of only a few months. I know that many companies are using this time to reinvent themselves, to be able to go bigger, faster, or to be more nimble, or to go in a different or perhaps more broad direction in their product and service offerings. And so as someone who works with lots of different companies right now as a coach and through your EO services, I was wondering what kinds of businesses have you seen changing their core business model or their product and service offerings during this particular COVID crisis time?
Yeah, the subject, and I really appreciate the time here, Eugene. The subject of what got you here won't get you there is just you know it's so pertinent now. I mean, I saw another, and I actually think I saw it through you all at Align, that saying that Babe Ruth had the old saying that yesterday's home run won't win today's game.
Right.
And, it really is something that we've been seeing, in companies of all different genres, saying, hey, this is a time when, in the past, we haven't had or didn't feel like we had the opportunity to pause and really look at things from, I guess, I'd say an outside perspective, right? Even within their own businesses. So it hasn't been that it's any one particular business that's shifting and doing these things that everybody's heard of called pivots, right? It's that word right now is a little overused. As we talked about this kind of coming in, I really see it being a time when people need to self-reflect in their businesses and say, what is it that did get us here? That's good to know, but understand that that's not the thing that's going to take us to, the places where we want to go into the future, whether it be the people that are here, whether it be the products or services that we're offering, whether it be the types of customers or, vendors that we had in the past. So we've seen it really across, the spectrum from, it doesn't matter whether it's a technology company that's, rewriting code to do something different, whether it's a housing group that says, hey, how do we make our environment safer and do different types of rentals versus, what we had done in the past. We've been seeing lots of different types of businesses.
So you mentioned a somewhat overused term in pivot. I've recently also started hearing the term rebound rather than a pivot, it being a rebound. But whatever the company may be doing as part of that self-reflection process, does a business necessarily have to really change direction, or can the change be more of a tweak or something that's more subtle about their product or service offering post-COVID?
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily has to be a revolution, right? I'll use the two different words, which is revolution versus evolution,
Hmm.
right? Which do you want to do as an organization, right? Yes, I do think that this is a time where you could revolutionize what you do. You really could go back and take the use a different analogy of you redoing a house. You could take it all the way down to the foundation and build from the ground up, and maybe even lay the foundation again, right? And redo it. That would be that would be revolutionary. But I think there's great opportunity to evolve and to do things that are, as you said, tweaks, right? Where it's, okay, the product or service that we had in the past was here. How do we use a piece of that or portions of that to then, build upon that and go to a different segment that, maybe that we hadn't serviced before. And maybe part of it is we didn't have the time to be able to really look at, because we were servicing our current customers, right, and what was already there. I mean, Align today is a software product. You and I know in the software world, the challenge with new versions of software is you always have to be backwards compatible, right? It can be true in other businesses of we haven't been able to change because we didn't want to take the time to look at backwards compatibility. Now you don't have to change totally. Maybe it's that next version of the software, next version of what you're doing, and you have a little bit more time and a little bit more space to be able to go, what could that be? And how could we still be backwards compatible, yet also build out in some areas that could help us to that next level to be what we want to be in the future, not just what we were in the past.
And so, Mark, as a coach, how would you sort of help a company go through that exercise of trying to determine whether or not it is just a small tweak that they need to make in order to sort of get through and maybe thrive after this COVID disruption? Or do they really sort of need to sort of reevaluate their entire business model and really, like you said, build the house from the foundation back up?
Well, I mean, I think part of it is recognizing. I always say that, as you mentioned in the opening, so I'm speaking not only from being a coach, but having built companies, right, and run them. And I certainly know that in my businesses, I'll use myself as the example. In my businesses, we always get caught in the centrifuge, right? And what I mean by that is we always got the ideas that we were doing were in the world that we were in. And I found both through participating in the Entrepreneurs Organization and other groups like that, that a lot of times what it really takes is pushing yourself to an uncomfortable place, which is how do you get outside that centrifuge of your world? So, what tools do we use, and what have I seen is number one is pushing yourself to get out of the space you're in, the headspace you're in as a business and say, what, how do I find either a coach or really smart people that I can bring together that are not in my industry,
Mm-hmm.
right? And come together and say, what, we're in this reflective time and we've got some time right now. Get some of your, good friends on Zoom and, have a virtual beer and just say, I want to think wild. I want to think about how we might do this. That is one of the things that we at Petra Coach do is we work with the businesses and go in and, we don't necessarily buy beer every once in a while, but, sit down and say, okay, we ask why a lot. We kind of act like my 3-year-old and just keep asking why do you do that? A lot of times businesses, the answer to why they do something or why they're still doing something is, well, we've always done it that way. And I would tell you as a coach, what I look for is that response. When I find that response, I then pick in on that and say, well, why is that? Why is that? And really push them. So I use the tool of asking why 3 to 5 times. Which is part of our process at Petra. We do have, the scaling up tools have this in it of, you want to have a BHAG, that long-term vision. Well, what is that? Why is it that? And where might that be 5 years out towards that? So using the scaling up tools can help organizations think about it, but they have to push themselves. It can't just be, let's just do our 5-year plan as it was from before. I want to encourage them to think outside that box and outside that centrifuge and, get uncomfortable. That's one of the things I tell them is, the tool can be uncomfortableness. If you're too comfortable as you're thinking about this stuff, you're not pushing yourself.
Right. And so once a company sort of makes a decision to either rebuild or be revolutionary or maybe evolutionary, what are sort of some tools or some systems that you've seen businesses use to actually execute on those pivots or on those rebounds, or help them to sort of execute against those revolutionary or evolutionary changes?
I mean, I am biased. As a scaling up coach, I do think the scaling up system has quite a number of tools. Right, you can look at what are those BHAG exercises and some of those. I will tell you that tactically, and I know it isn't just a push for Align today, but the Align software does a great job of this, of really allowing for the ability to put in, your 1 year, 3 year, 5 year, longer term goals, and then what are we going to do this quarter or this month against those, and getting it down to the tactical stuff. What I would tell people is find a system, right, that works well. So, there's Jack Daly does a great job of this on the sales side. People always ask him, what's the best CRM system? And he says, the best one is the one you actually use. And what I would tell you is the same is true here, right? Is he had some superlatives in there. Anybody who knows Jack knows that. Love Jack to death. But I like to kind of communicate that the same way, which is, I love Align today. There are other tools that are out there as well, but find the one that works for you that will help you set some objectives, some goals, some places that you want to go, and then get you back to the tactical of how to get there. That's the high level, right? I will tell you, there's an old saying that, the best equipment in the world doesn't make somebody a great athlete. Right? It takes training, it takes experience. That's why every athlete has a coach. Yes, it's self-serving. That's what I do now, but I absolutely love it. But the reality is tools are one piece. You have to get a lot of those pieces in place. Find the right coach, find the right tools, but make sure that the right ones are the ones that you will use, that will, get you to move forward, to be uncomfortable, to do the things that you might not have thought you could do. And might not have thought were even possible.
Mark, the one question that I ask everyone that comes on the Daily Dose of Advice, what is the number one piece of advice that you are giving your coaching clients right now?
The number one piece of advice that I'm giving them right now, literally in the COVID, environment that we're all in right now, actually I'm gonna give two. So I'm gonna double it up for today. The daily double dose for you. Number one is I'm telling them to honor their feelings. I know it might sound weird, but the and their teams. And the reality is we're all dealing with an unprecedented situation. And I think it's very difficult for people to even understand what other people are going through. And so what I mean by honoring the feelings of is, hey, you know what? Be real with your teams and your customers and everybody else, is saying, hey, this is challenging, and honor that. That doesn't mean we stop. It doesn't mean we freeze up and we don't do anything. It means we honor that they're there, and we do everything we can to continue to move forward in the best way possible in every minute, every day, every week, every month. But you have to honor those. I've found that in my experience, those that don't at least acknowledge and honor them, it goes underneath and it builds, and it doesn't build in a good way. And so I'm really pushing them to honor that. And then the second thing, really, the dose of advice is don't freeze. Right? This is not the time to just say, oh, I'm going to wait and see what happens, or I'm going to wait till things come back to the way they used to be, come back to normal. And I'm using air quotes as I do it because people keep saying this. And it's like, you know what? We're creating what normal will be as we go forward. It's not a backwards looking thing. Don't sit down. Don't stop. Keep moving. Do what you can do. That's, the best advice that I can find for people. What Eugene can do, what Mark can do, what anybody else can do, we all have to determine that for ourselves, but do something, don't stop.
Right. I think I heard somewhere recently that even if you don't change the way your business operates, everything around you has changed. So there is no going back to whatever it was that was before, even if you're going to keep the way your business operates no differently. Anyway, Mark, always a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, all I was going to say is while I'm, people can accuse me of being overly optimistic. Sometimes I like to say I'm an optimistic realist, right? Which is, yeah, you know what? I do see this as an opportunity. I really do. Even when I had businesses and we went through, big changes, nothing like this, but it's an opportunity. You can either see the blank piece of paper as, scary, or you can see it as an opportunity to go, wow, what could we do? And so, yeah, it's the future is ours to unfold in the way we see it.
Mark, it's always a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for joining us. For those of you that would like to learn more about Mark, you can check out petracoach.com, Petra coach.com. Again, if you'd like to learn more about the Align software, you can go to our website at aligntoday.com. And we hope that you will join us on our next installment of Align's Daily Dose of Advice. Till then, thank you so much, and we hope that you make it a great day. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Eugene.